Hello and welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we learned the book of Bamidbar. This is the third parasha of this book, Parashah Behaalotecha. And in this parasha, it begins talking about how Aaron HaKohen was commanded by God to light the 7-branch candelabrum in the sanctuary. So we're going to learn what is the symbolism of this menorah and the act of lighting, and that's the theme of this siha given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So let's start understanding who Aaron HaKohen was and what was his purpose as the priest, as the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, in the service of the Jewish people and in the temple. So his duties as a high priest were basically described in this sidra, and we know that one of the features, one of the attributes of Aaron HaKohen was that he had an immense love towards every creature in the world. And it says in Pirkei Avot, Rabbi Hillel, he says, "Be of the disciples of Aaron, loving peace and pursuing peace, loving your fellow creatures and drawing them near to Torah." So he's saying that this is a very high quality of a human being and that we should emulate his ways. Maybe we will never come to be as great as Aaron HaKohen, but if we take this teaching into our hearts, then we will be a person that's always looking for peace, and we're always going to be looking for the welfare of other people, seeing how we can help them in their lives, and not only that, but to draw them near to the truth, which is the Torah. So this attribute of his way of life that stands as a supreme example of spreading spiritual life, a spiritual light of Torah, we see that it was that he did not wait for those. This is what made him so special, is that he did not wait for those who stood in darkness to come within the circle of light, but rather he would take the light to them. So if he saw a couple fighting, he knew that the wife and the husband were having marital problems and they were not getting along. What he did was that he would pursue that they would come near the Torah, and he would go to the husband and say, "Oh, your wife, she's so loving. She tells me how much she loves you and how much distress she has because you're not talking to her." And then he would go to the wife, and she would go and say the same thing about the husband. Eventually, when these two would meet, they would just embrace and love each other, and the same he would do amongst friends. So in Hillel's words to his fellow creatures, that to be a disciple that's loving every person in the world, a word including those who had no merit at all. He would see every person as a part of God. This is what put him apart, that he didn't see people as independent beings. He saw that there was godliness in each person. So, but nonetheless, he drew them near to the Torah rather than drawing the Torah near to them. And he did not simply simplify or compromise its demands to bring it down to their level. He did not lower the Torah. On the contrary, he would raise people up so they would be able to go to a higher level of connection to the Torah. So the second thing here that the Rebbe talks about is that there's a facet of Aaron's life that is suggested in this parasha, which opens up with the command, when you light. And it says Behaalotecha literally means when you raise up. This is what it really means. It's not only that you're lighting a candle, it means that you're rising the flame up. And what it means is that the 7 lamps shall give light in front of the candlesticks. So the lamps of the menorah of the times of the temple are a symbol of the Jewish soul. So we know that this candelabrum had 7 branches. Every branch represents in Jewish literature, let's call it like that, when you learn in the Torah about number 7, it has different connotations. So one is the 7 days of the week, the 7 days of creation, 6 days of creation, the 7th day Hashem rested. It can allude also to the 7 emotional attributes of the 7 Sefirot, which represent 7 different types of personalities. And so when it's talking here that the lamp of the Lord is the soul of man, this is what it's alluded here. And this is in Proverbs, where it says that the Lord is the soul of man, the lamp of the Lord is the soul of man. And the 7 lamps, which are the branches of the menorah, are the 7 different types of Jewish souls. Then the job of Aaron was to raise up every soul. This was his job. It was an emotive job. He had to bring the concealment of God within each person to be revealed. This is what he did. So the rabbi sought an explanation for the fact that the word raise up, Behaalotecha, is used instead of the more obvious light of or kindle, and they concluded that the verse means that Aaron was to kindle them. He had to light them up until the flame rises up by itself. So it was not enough that he would just put the match in the wick and let it okay, turn on. He would have to stand there and keep the flame, his flame, in contact with the wick until that light became strong on its own. So Aaron's spiritual achievement was therefore not only to light the flame in the souls of the Jewish people, but to take them to the stage where they would give light of their own. So this is really, I think it's a revolutionary concept, because it applies to parents, it applies to teachers, it applies to rabbis and rebbetzins, it applies to employers, any person that has a job or something that puts them above everybody else, policemen, firemen, people that are in a higher, let's say, responsibility in the world. Their job is not just to be there giving orders and making people feel low, and that they are the ones, the hierarchies, they're up there and you're down here and you have to look up like the children to the parents or the teachers. The idea here is to transmit to the person that is, let's say, below you, like the kid or your student, or that has less knowledge than you, or your child that you're educating, or your employee that you're telling him what to do. The idea is that you have the power to light them up to the point where they can rise on their own. And this is really, I would say, the trademark of a good leader in any situation. Is a person that is not only thinking about himself being at the top, is a person that's thinking, how can I take that other person to the top? And so there's 3 rules. There are 3 rules which apply to the menorah in the sanctuary and the temple. And this is in the parasha. And it says, first, even a person who was not a priest could light the lamps. So the first thing is, anybody that came into the temple could light the lamps of the menorah. If the Kohen was not there and he would call someone to please come and light it for me because I cannot make it, that person could easily go and light the candles. And secondly, only a priest could prepare the lamps, setting the wicks on the oil. So anybody could light it, but only the high priest, only in this case Aaron HaKohen, was the one that had to prepare the oil and the wicks. And thirdly, the menorah could only be lit in the temple sanctuary. So you could not take it outside into the street, you cannot take it to your house, it could only be lit inside the sanctuary. So these 3 rules are similarly to the conditions in which the spiritual awakening can take place when you're lighting the lamp of the soul. So firstly, it is not the prerogative of the priest alone or to the chosen few to spread the light of Torah. The task belongs to every Jew. So this is one of the things that the Rebbe Lubavitch was very, very much into, in where he gave people the power to go open Chabad houses everywhere in the world and bring people to the light. These are the shluchim, this is the Rebbe's army. He was not a controlling freak from an office in 770 telling everybody what they had to do. Obviously, he gave us instructions and he gave us Torah to learn and a way to behave that is according to the Torah. But basically, he would send like young couples, newlywed couples everywhere in the world to open their Chabad houses and be able to cater to Jewish people that lived in these places, or nowadays so many people travel that they know that wherever they go there's a Chabad house and they can be taken care of. But if you go and you travel through the world and you have the opportunity to go and visit every Chabad house, you're going to see that every Chabad house has their own special flavor. You go to Rabbi Soloveitchik in Japan, it's a style. If you go to the Chabad house in Bogota, Colombia, it's a style. If you go to a Chabad house on a college campus, it's a different style. So each one has a different taste, because it's the taste of the shlucha that's in that place. But at the end of the day, the light that the Rebbe was able to ignite is connected to the Rebbe. So we see here that in Hillel's words, "Be of the disciples of Aaron" were addressed to every individual. This goes to every person, but only the priest can do the preparation. So only a leader is the one that can tell you, okay, I want this, I want that, I want you to go and open this house here and open this house there. And we may be tempted to think that in pursuit of our aim of drawing Jewish people to the life of Torah, the end justifies the means, and that concessions can be made on our own initiative for the sake of winning commitment. But against this is a warning that not everyone is capable of deciding which interpretations, which lines of influence are valid, and this belongs to the priest. In our case, our leaders, our Jewish leaders, the great rabbis of our generation, who are the ones that tell us this is allowed, this is not allowed. You know, nowadays there's so many things that are coming out that were not in the time, they didn't exist in the times of the Torah, like for example in vitro fertilization, surrogate mothers, you have how do you call it, when they make this meat that is not made out of a cow, but it has the cells of a cow, they're lab grown. All these things bring into the world different new halachas, new laws. And so you have to go to the people that are like brilliant in halacha, because they bring the halachas of today according to the halacha. So we see that this is the task of the great rabbis. And what is a priest? In the times of the temple, when Jews first possessed their land, the priest had to share of its territory. We know that when the Jewish people came into Israel, the lands were distributed according to the tribes, and the tribe of Levi, which the Cohen belongs to the tribe of Levi, didn't have any ownership of land. So it says here that God is his inheritance, his only possession is Hashem. And this was his sanctity. And in the words of the Rambam, it says, not only the tribe of Levi, but any man of any place whose spirit is willing to separate himself and to stand before God and to minister to and serve him, he and only he is the mentor in whose footsteps we must follow. And the place where the lamps are to be lit is in the sanctuary, and there are shades and levels of holiness. And the sanctuary is not only the only holy place, but the specific task of lighting the flame could not be done anywhere else. And we must awaken the spirit of ourselves, that others to the highest degree of sanctity possible. So when we are following the Torah, there's no concessions. There's no concession, there's no easy way out. There is a law, we have to abide by the law. This is a law that was given to us thousands of years ago, more than 3,000 years ago, when Moshe received the Torah at Mount Sinai. And we have to adhere to these laws, and Hashem gave the job to certain very special individuals who know the law, that have the capacity to understand these laws and be able to transmit them to every generation. So then we come and we see that the menorah in the sanctuary had 7 branches, as I said before, and they represent, in this case where we're talking right now, to the 7 different personalities of Jews, the 7 different kinds of Jews. You have Jewish people that are all kindness, loving kindness. Then you have people that are more strict, more disciplined. You have people who are more merciful, and so on. And it says there are 7 general paths to the service of God, that there are 7 ways in which you can serve Hashem. And he says, but common to them all is the fact that they're alight with the flame of Torah. So even though each person has their own uniqueness, each person has their own path in the service of Hashem because of their makeup, of how they were made up to be, nevertheless, they all should adhere to the Torah, to the highest degree of Torah, and they have to burn with love and shed the light of truth within the sanctuary, and from there it's going to go out to the whole world. So there was a peculiarity in the temple, and it was the way that the windows were built. They were broad and narrow, on which the rabbis comment. They were broad on the outside and narrow inside. For I, God, am not in need of light. Like, God doesn't need light inside of the sanctuary. Unlike other buildings that are built the other way around, the windows are more narrow on the outside and they're broader inside, so the light will come and open up. In the temple, it was the other way around, because at that moment, the light that illuminated the world was not the light of the sun, or the moon, or the light bulb in the street. It was the light of the sanctuary that was created within the sanctuary, that was actually the light of God that would shine out to the whole world and illuminate the whole world. So this is a common goal of the efforts of every Jewish person in the world. We are lamp-lighters, we are a light upon the nations. This is our job, this is our responsibility. I don't get tired by saying this week after week. And we have to understand that even though we're all different and we all have a different way of thinking and different ways of living, we have to adhere strictly to that approach of Aaron HaKohen. And eventually it is to connect to another Jew and teach them where their switch is. You have to show them that they have that light too. This is the path. It's to show everybody that, yeah, I shine, but you can shine too. And this is the biggest kindness a person can do for another person. This is the biggest love. And in this way, we live a little higher. So I wish you a blessed week, and remember, live a little higher. Thank you.